Welcome to this February 28, 2022 meeting of the Lake Bluff Village Board of Trustees. Again, it is our finding that an in-person meeting is not practical or prudent. First, due to the COVID-19 emergency, we're now conducting this meeting to be primarily virtual pursuant to Section 7E of the Open Meeting Act. Next, as required by law, at least one representative from the village will be present at the Village Hall boardroom, and the the virtual meeting will be simulcast for members of the public who do not wish to view the virtual meeting from another location. Last, the boardroom can only accommodate a limited number of people, including members of a public body and village staff, while maintaining 6 feet of social distance between individuals. Accordingly, the opportunity to view the virtual meeting at Village Hall is available on a first-come, first-served basis. This said, again, good evening and welcome to this February 28th, 2022 meeting of the Lake Bluff Village Board of Trustees. Clerk, please call the roll. You're muted, Kat.
Good evening. Trustee Inkeman?
Here.
Trustee Markey?
You're on mute. Here.
Trustee Rabin?
Here.
Trustee Fisher?
Here.
That is everybody. That is Trustee Brian.
Not here.
And we have a quorum. Thank you. Please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
and to the republic,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
with liberty,
indivisible,
and justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 4 are considerations of the minutes of February 14, 2022 Village Board virtual meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Are there any changes? If not, a clerk, please call the roll.
I think
Trustee Inkeman?
Aye.
Trustee Rabin?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Fisher?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, item number 5 is non-agenda items and visitors. The village president and board of trustees allocate 15 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the village board of trustees on any matter not listed on this agenda. Each person addressing the village board of trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. We do not have anybody in this room beside Drew and I. Do we have anybody online?
if there is anyone online wishing to provide any comment at this time, please raise your hand by clicking at the bottom of the screen. No one appears to be raising their hand.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, item 6, village board sets the order of a meeting. I understand that we have online participants that would comment on section 15, 16, and 17. Is there...
15, 16, 18.
And 18. 15, 16, and 18. Is there, do we just proceed to these motions?
If there's, without any
Opposition?
Without objection.
objection, thank you.
Objection,
The word
thank you very
escaped me.
Is there any objection to moving to these sections right now?
No, no objection.
Thank you. So moving on to section 15 first. Item 15 is an ordinance amending the special use permits for the Center Avenue Partners development for 28 to 30 East Center Avenue for half and half pizza. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you. Barbara for a first and Joy for a second. Thank you. This is the first of 3 board items related to a pending zoning relief application filed by Half and Half Pizza LLC. On January 27th, 2022, the Village of Lake Bluff received a zoning relief application from Half and Half Pizza LLC, the applicant, seeking amendments to the special use permit governing the restaurant uses at 28-38 East Center Avenue and 53-91 East Scranton Avenue, being the Center Avenue Partner Development. The petitioner no longer intends to establish a basement dining space, caché, as authorized by the current special use permit, but instead proposes to establish a primarily carry-out and delivery restaurant named Half and Half Pizza. Orders would be prepared in the basement and fulfilled in Bonk, a separate restaurant use on the property. Allowing the expansion would take the form of an amendment to Ordinance 2020-13, which governs the various special uses and variation on the property, including the former caché space. At the conclusion of its public hearing on February 16 to consider the application, the PCZBA unanimously recommended the village board approve the requested relief with the condition that the hours of operation be limited such that the restaurant can only operate between the hours of 6 a.m. and 11 p.m., identical to Bonk. The other conditions applicable to Innova C and Bonk today, such as requirement that employee park in the train station parking lot, would also apply, as would provisions that allow hours of operations and floor plans to change by resolution of a village board, that means without a public hearing. The ordinance additionally modifies one of these mechanisms. This expands the scope of a mechanism to allow more possible cases where the area devoted to restaurant uses may be reconfigured by resolution, as described further in the attached ordinance and the PCZBA staff memorandum. On February 24th, the applicant sent an email formally requesting waiver of second reading of the ordinance to help facilitate an April opening. Comments? Any comments from the trustees?
I do have a comment. The first one just being in general about the change in direction of the property. I think it's, fine that the owner has chosen to change direction, and I have no real specific comments on that. But in terms of waiving second reading, I think in cases in the past when applicants have asked to waive second reading, it's always, in essence, trying to get their business going quickly, which we all understand and we do support. My concern is always that should someone wish to comment or object to anything, that it really diminishes the ability for a person to do that. And I'm always concerned about that. So I would ask if there were any questions or objections with regard to this that, Drew or Glenn may have heard about. But even in lieu of that, I also would just want to find out if we said that we waived second reading, but then the property owner is still subject to, if something comes up, it's kind of at their peril that they've moved forward within the normal time in which someone would be able to voice their objection and present that to the board. I would be more in favor of waiving second reading. I am not excited about waiving second reading in general. Again, just because it diminishes the ability of the public to thoughtfully consider things that may affect their homes, their businesses, and other things that we just don't have visibility to. So I guess I wanted to ask those questions that were kind of rambled on of Drew.
Sure. So I would say two things. I'm not sure why I'm echoing, I know the petitioner is available to address some of these issues, but I would say as far as what's slowing Mr. DeRossier down at this point is he has applied for building permits, and those are still being reviewed at the moment. But I think I know it's been in the queue for a little bit of time, but it's will it be done in 2 weeks? I think it's quite possible that between now and the next reading, that the permit could be ready, ready to go. As far as any comment during the public hearing from last week regarding this particular item, Glenn, was there comments from the public regarding this item?
Yeah, there was only a little bit of discussion from one of the adjacent property owners. That issue, I would say, was resolved to that, or not owners, tenants, business owners. I think that issue was resolved to that person's satisfaction at the public hearing.
So hopefully that
And
gives
again,
you some, yeah.
Well, again, if we were to waive second reading and then something were to come up as an issue with a different tenant and a different issue and, something that we just can't foresee, I would hate to close off the opportunity for that individual to have some type of audience or some type of remedy that could be asked for. And so if we don't waive second reading, couldn't the applicant just move forward at their peril of someone objecting to something, and then they may have to modify something or do something different in the meantime? Because I'd like to not waive second reading unless if it allows the business owner to kind of move forward, but at their own peril. I feel like that gives the best case for everyone to still have the options available to them for something that's just unforeseen.
That path is available, where we can enter into an agreement with the property owner, if they're agreeable to that, is to enter in at your own risk building permit, where they know that they're waiting final approval and they know that there is that risk that it could not be approved or there could be changes, but that is a pathway that has been taken from time to time.
And I will agree with you, Barb. I would basically strike all of these ordinance, the last paragraph that is waiving the second reading.
That second reading would be in 2 weeks, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I was proposing that that's one avenue. The other avenue being that we waive second reading, but we don't waive anyone's right to object. And then if the property owner has moved forward on something that later is objected to within that same period, then they have done that at their own risk or peril. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but once the ordinance is approved on second reading, it's final. So there's no way to kind of leave open the possibility of some objecting neighbor after it's been adopted.
Okay, well then that's
Okay, that makes it clear.
I would recommend we do not waive the second reading, okay? And John could proceed with his building permit at his own risk, and in 2 weeks from now, we'll reconvene and re-examine this ordinance.
Can I ask a separate question?
Please.
I'm sorry, Barbara.
no, I was concurring with
Okay.
that being the best way.
I wanted to ask Drew, first of all, I think this is great. It's going to be a great asset for the village of Lake Bluff. Pizza delivery. We've always wanted pizza here ever since, Domino's left a long time ago. Not that that's the greatest pizza. John does everything great. So this really is an asset to Lake Bluff, and I'm thankful for it. Are there any other businesses that stay open until 11 o'clock at night in the downtown area, Drew, that you're aware of?
To 11 p.m.?
Isn't that the hours of business?
Yes.
Yeah, I think John can perhaps answer that question himself. I think restaurants on the weekends stay open much later than they would normally during the week. And I think COVID has even flexed that down to certain hours. It's, they've compressed that tighter.
I don't need John to respond right now because I'm fully in support of those hours. People want pizza when they want it. And if John is willing to deliver pizza at 10:45 at night, then terrific. Can
I answer your question differently, perhaps? So there's been conversations at the Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals where they've tried to, I'll say it like standardize hours of operation to the extent they could, because over time, special use permits have been reflective of the individual operator's request, but they've tried to have them align because it's easier for us to administer, right? So they've tried to do that. Generally speaking, I think restaurants are allowed to stay open on weekends till midnight and 11 during the week. Most choose to close earlier just because there's a lack of business.
Okay, great. That answers my questions. And then the deliveries, just the language was a little confusing. So the delivery cars would not be allowed either on the street on Scranton or on the street behind it. It would have to be in the parking lot. So as delivery cars come in, it would all be done in that parking lot.
That's correct.
Okay, good. I think it's great.
Any more comments from the trustees?
John, do you have any comments you want to share with the board, John DeRossi? If so, you please raise your hand. There's a question. Oh, there's a question that's been offered in queue here. It says, will the pizzas come up via the stairs, not the elevator, ? I think John's probably, DeRossi is the best person to answer that. John, can you answer that? You have to unmute yourself first.
So the pizzas will actually go through the stairs in the internal part of the building. There's passageways for us to move them upstairs. And so right now the way we're planning for it is that Bonk closes at around 3 o'clock, 3:30. Then the space will transition into the pizza pickup place. Kids can come by and get slices. We can still buy ice cream, things like that. But it'll basically transition into a pizza and ice cream shop in the afternoon time, and then we'll run that for the rest of the night for coming to pick up orders, deliveries, stuff like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know this is obnoxiously glowing, but I have been waiting for Lake Bluff to have a pizza slice place for the kids and ice cream for them to hang out. So how awesome.
Thank you.
Any more?
I had a quick question about parking. It seems like this setup is going to be less of a problem for parking than Cache would have been, just because it's for the carryout folks. But I'm assuming the PCZB, I'm assuming there was a discussion about parking, and we feel like we can manage that downtown.
Basically as the parking is there's no seating for customers.
Okay.
At all. We were only going to have probably 2 to 4 employees, maybe 5 people actually running there, and that parking issue solves itself because they park where they're supposed to park. As far as customers coming in, it'll be for short times to pick things up and keep walking. Also, it's only going to be open at night, so we'll open in the kind of afternoon time to the evening. It won't be during lunch. So it's certainly going to have a lot less impact, if any, really at all, on the existing parking.
Okay, great. Thanks, John.
Any more comments? John, thank you very much and I will follow the comments from Trustee Rappin. We have been waiting for a pizza place after Domino departure, but it was not that great, happening in downtown, so thank you very much.
My pleasure. We're very excited for it.
Thank you. Any more questions? Hearing none. So this will be a vote on
First reading only.
On the first reading only on this item 15. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher? Here, or aye. Trustee Rappin?
Aye.
Trustee Markey?
Aye.
Trustee Engelmann?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is item 16. A resolution approving a sign code exemption for Innovasi Restaurants and Rev Cycle at 28 East Center Avenue through 77 East Scranton Avenue. Is there a motion to approve a resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. John Desrosiers has applied for a permit to install projecting hanging signs for 4 existing businesses: Bonk Over Door, JDR Wine and Beer, and Lake Bluff Hub and Cycle, and 1 new business, Half and Half Pizza Company. Also proposed are window signs for Half and Half Pizza Company, which will consist of a 22-inch square logo in the center of a window and a black band matching the overtenants at the top of a window with 6-inch tall lettering. These signs will total 784 square inches of a 4,100 square inch window, and so will cover 90% of a window, requiring an exemption to the 15% maximum. 50% of the area within the 22-inch square logo is clear glass. Exemption to the window coverage rule have been granted in some cases where a significant portion of a sign consists of clear background. The plans were presented to the Architectural Board of Review on February 1st. The ABR recommended approval of a sign code exemption by a vote of 7 to none. The ABR has the authority to approve signs which conform to the sign code, but only to make a recommendation to the village board for signs which require an exemption. The attached plans were revised to reflect changes requested by the ABR in the locations of the hanging signs, and an additional revision was made to add the logo of a barber shop to a sign with the Bonk Half and Half logos. Any comments from trustees?
I just wanted to clarify, it's in the notes, but the hanging signs are conforming uses to our code. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so the only variance is that the window stickers will be 18% larger than code.
So there is the area of the sign and the issue that the actual hanging signs are blade signs, as we refer to, that the code doesn't allow for those. Mike, you want to explain how that works?
Yeah, what the hanging signs are conforming to code. The variance is to the window signs. As to the amount of variance, there is a 15% coverage is allowed, and the half and half window signs will be at 19% of the window. But again, that's counting everything to the boundary of the outside edge of the sign as covered, even though within the graphic there's clear portions of glass.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Sure. Yep.
Hey, Mike, maybe I could get a little clarification. The only thing, I love this. It's classy. It's all on one building. It's going to make downtown, from my standpoint, look nice. That's the Osterline building. The only thing that gave me just a touch of heartburn was Half and Half Bonk and Hub and Cycle of having 2 signs on that one building. Is that a conforming use that you can have one, I guess, business, one room with 2 signs, or is that a variance?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, essentially you're asking, does it, you have one tenant space with multiple businesses in it, does that get you another sign versus just having one sign per tenant space? And I believe the sign code does say, one for each business. So I believe they are allowed one sign per business there.
Okay, and that's 3 businesses.
Yeah, right.
Okay. I do understand that it would be hard to have Half and Half and Bonk restaurants and Hub and Cycle on one sign, so I'm comfortable with that. So I'll stop there.
Right.
Thank you.
Mike, just to be clarified, the quantity of blade signs is 3, correct?
Yes, that's right.
So 3 blade signs in total. The applicant submitted originally for 4, yes?
That I would have to scroll back. Let me just double check that. What
I
we
just wanted-
originally had.
Isn't it 4 blade signs because of the wine?
Yeah, that's right. There were 4
Yeah,
originally.
I just want to make sure people understood that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Drew, has it gone from 4 to 3?
It is actually what's being, the ABR's recommendation was for the 3 because they combine the other onto the one sign, which is what this package has. The petitioner is raising his hand. John?
Yeah, we did combine half and half, and the barber shop and Bonk will all be on one sign. So that address will just have one sign mounted over the center window. And then the second sign will be down at JDR over the entrance to the door there. And the last sign will be over at the other door, over the doorway there. So there'll be 3 signs around the entire side, really basically the entire side of the building. So the Bonk and the pizza place will not have individual signs. We combined them into one.
Okay.
I had a quick question just about the sign hangers, the metal, the wrought iron hangers. So I walked downtown today just to take a look, and there's already hangers in the building holding up the light strands. Are those going to be the hangers that we use for the signage too?
They will look similar, but they won't be exactly the same hangers. The ones we're going to put the signs on need to be more robust and have a lot more strength to them. The hangers we're going to use are actually the hangers that are posted over John's new bar that just opened. He's got a blade sign that's there.
Okay.
We're using that exact same hanger so that the entire building all has the same look to it.
Okay. And then are we still going to be using them, the hangers for the lights? Or are there going to be like multiple hangers on the building close to each other?
Yeah, we're not gonna. Yeah, if there is a place where there is a current hanger for the lights now, that'll be replaced by the sign. We're not going to double them up.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that was my question. I think the signs look great.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy. Any more questions?
I like the look of the signs as well. It doesn't appear that there's any lighting, no illumination of these signs, and I would assume that there's not going to be any illumination of these signs. Is that correct?
That's right. There's not right now. Just the general street lamps and the light of the building itself. There's enough to light it just with that now.
Yeah, I mean, I like the less is more, and it just seems really classy. I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Darren, if you do not have a comment.
She stepped away.
Okay. So with hearing no questions, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Markey,
Aye.
Trustee Inkeman,
Hi.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
That is all. Tiernan stepped away.
I need to accept.
Right now, yeah.
Yep. Next item is item number 17. That is an ordinance amending Title 3 of the Village of Lake Bluff Municipal Code concerning Class X, S, and C, AC liquor licenses. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. This is the third of three board items related to a pending zoning relief application filed by Half and Half Pizza LLC. The attached ordinance proposes 2 changes to the village liquor code. First, as there are no longer plans to construct a basement bar service area in Innovasi, the attached ordinance would delete the specific provision allowing this type of service area from the Class AC license. This type of license is only held by Innovasi. Second, Donati's Pizza currently holds Class 5 on-premise liquor and X delivery beer and wine licenses. As Donati does not serve spirits, it has requested to exchange its Class 5 or V?
V.
Sorry. V, liquor license for a $2,750 annual fee. For a Class S license, a $1,250 annual fee, which only authorizes the sale of beer and wine, including cider. The attached ordinance would change the number of licenses accordingly and add language that authorizes Class S license holders to serve in outdoor service areas. Questions and comments, please.
I'm comfortable with it.
Thank you. Barb, Joy, Taryn.
There's nobody,
comment.
there's no Q&A from the public.
Okay, and no Q&A for the public. Hearing no questions, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rappin. Trustee Rappin. Trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Rappin.
I think he's
Trustee
frozen.
He's frozen.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I was frozen. Trustee Ingerman.
Aye.
Okay. And Taryn's not here.
Hold on, we'll stand by for 1 second. I'll ping
Yes.
him.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Thank you.
Nice work.
And the resolution passes.
I don't know if Trustee Fisher ever chimed in. Not yet?
I believe we need Trustee Fisher to vote on this resolution.
Well, it's an ordinance and it's first reading, so technically it requires 3, but I think Trustee Fisher's here, so she probably can vote.
Yeah.
We have 3 though, don't we?
Yeah, we do. I just want to make sure Trustee Fisher can vote if she wants to.
She's not here right now.
Okay. Peter Friedman, can she come back at a later time in the meeting and state her vote on this when she comes back on?
Technically not, once the vote is declared.
If only Clerk Hatch could see her, how close she was.
But you could just defer the final vote here until you handle another matter, if you wanted to. Otherwise, we can proceed with a 3-0 vote.
You're probably fine with that. It's first
Okay,
reading.
so this is the first reading. Let's proceed on the next item. That is item number 18. And we have 3 votes on this item. Thank you. Next item is agenda item number 18, a resolution approving the second extension of a special use permit and variation for a restaurant and drinking place as the Lawrence English Pub, 103-13 East Scranton Avenue. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. On April 13, 2020, the Village Board approved Ordinance 2020-4, which granted a special use permit and 2 zoning variations necessary to enclose the former Lake Forest Bank and Trust drive-through at the southern end of 103-113 East Scranton Avenue and to repurpose it as an English pub, restaurant, and drinking place. In this instance, various provisions of the zoning regulations apply a 1-year expiration period to the relief granted by Ordinance 2020-4. Within that time frame, ordinarily, the applicant must either 1, obtain a building permit and pursue construction to completion, or 2, obtain a certificate of occupancy, and commence the use. The same provisions allow the village administrator to extend the expiration date for up to 1 year for good cause shown, but only where a written request is filed prior to the expiration date. On May 24, 2021, the village board approved a 1-year extension of a deadline due to the ongoing effect of a COVID-19 pandemic and other various challenges after receiving a request to do so from the property owner after the 1-year expiration date. On February 18, 2022, the village received the attached letter from the property owner seeking a second 1-year extension. The attached draft resolution would grant the requested extension to April 13, 2023. Any comments?
I remain very excited about the idea that we're going to have an English pub in Lake Bluff. And certainly in these unprecedented times, there have been all sorts of grants and programs and businesses going out of business. I think it's very reasonable and expected that somebody who is going to open a new business might need to put it off. And, granting the extension just makes a whole lot of sense. So I'm very excited about it.
Thank you. Thank you, Barb. Any more comments?
I would agree with Barb. We spent a lot of time at the onset when this special use permit came up. So nothing has changed. It's just been a timing situation, I think. And I'm excited to see it hopefully move forward this year.
Thank you, Joey.
I agree, and I have nothing more to add.
Thank you, Steve. Is Taryn is not back online. Okay. Thank you. So
You have the petitioner available on the call if he has any comment.
do we have Mr. Lawrence online?
Yes, this is Gary.
Gary, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to basically say thank you and for what's hopefully going to be one final extension, and that's it. So thank you.
We may want to add, well, Drew, is it okay to add what another trustee who's not here what her point of view was? Or is that for
I don't know if Trustee Fisher is available at the time.
I was thinking of Trustee Brianne's comment.
Certainly, yeah, I'm happy to offer that. Mr. Lawrence, just so you know, a trustee who's not here on the call tonight made a comment that, this is, given the circumstances, that an extension is warranted, but she would not be favorable if you had to get another extension and would likely direct you to reapply for zoning relief, given how much time has passed. So
That would be understandable.
yeah, so not that it's anybody's goal, and everybody wants you to be successful. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
For sure. Absolutely.
yeah,
And I look forward to that English pub opening as well, Gary. Thank you very much.
Me too. Thank you, Regis. Thank you, everyone.
Yep. So at this point, hearing no question, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Inkeman,
Aye.
trustee Marquis,
Aye.
trustee Rappin,
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Are-
At this point,
I'm sorry, are we saying that Trustee Fisher is now absent from the meeting and we're not calling her? I just want to make sure because she's on the screen and she's noted as present in the minutes earlier. So I just wanted to make sure.
true.
want me to go ask or?
so I guess my question is Peter, can she come back in after? I mean, it's like a pitcher. Can she come back in to the meeting?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
right. I just want to make sure she's on the screen, but she's not being called.
Yeah.
So
I think Clerk Hatch is in the same location where she can see whether she's present or not on the call
Right.
at the moment. So,
okay, so we'll just note that as 3-0.
yep.
Thank you. At this point, we will resume the order of the meeting. And that would be item number 7. That would be our village finance report. If I can find my page. And that would be item 7A, the warrant report for February 15 to February 28, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the warrant report?
So moved.
Thank you. A second?
So this requires 4 votes.
If we could just have a 2-minute recess, I can go grab Taryn.
Yes.
I would say yes, if you want to, why not?
Let's have a 2 minutes, as requested, a 2-minute recess to gather a fourth trustee. Thank you.
Peter, does there need to be a vote on that at all, or just at the chair's pleasure?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay. You may want to go jump on the Stone Bridge.
No, we're good.
How long? I don't know.
Okay. Oh, I see afterward.
Yeah.
Okay. Next item, I see, thank you, Taryn. Thank you for joining us.
Sorry, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Next item is the warrant report for February 15 to February 28th, 2022. I believe I already got a motion.
You had a member, trustee Inkeman made the motion, but there was no second.
A second.
Thank you. So as a summary of background and reasons for request, expenditures of village fund for payment of invoices in the amount of $349,405.30 for February 15 and to February 28th. So for a total of expenditure of, again, $349,405.30. As a reference, we have one document, a report and document attached, that is the warrant report for February 15 to February 28th, 2022, again for $349,405.30, dated 2/15 to 2/28, 2022. The invoice register report shows checks with a status of open or paid, all checks with a status of open or computer-generated checks for the board's final approval. Checks with a status of paid are manual checks processed. Any questions about this report?
I have none.
No.
I would just ask that $136,000 payment to the city of Lake Forest for ambulance. I just wanted to confirm, that's a once-a-year payment, Bettina?
It's quarterly.
Yeah, it's a quarterly payment.
Okay.
Any more questions? This said, this is a This is a roll vote again. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher,
Aye.
trustee Markey.
Aye.
Trustee Ingemann,
Aye.
trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Thank you.
If there's no objections, go to items 12, 13, and 14.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No 7B.
Go to these because we.
Okay. Okay, let's, if there are no objections, let's proceed to item 12 as we have trustee Fisher with us. Item 12 is an ordinance revoking and rescinding ordinance number 2006-28, ordinance number 2011-07, and resolution 2014-62 related to a planned residential development, final plat of subdivision and variations for the Stonebridge development. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. This is the first of three board items to approve zoning actions required by the village settlement agreement with SB 2011, LLC, the owner of the Stonebridge development at 136 Green Bay Road, also known as O-391 Johnson Lane. The attached draft ordinance would, number one, revoke the various approval previously granted to the Stonebridge development. The draft ordinance revokes the existing plan residential development PRD governing Stonebridge, Ordinance 2006-28 as amended, as well as a preliminary PRD plan later approved for Stonebridge, Resolution 2014-62. From a zoning and regulatory perspective, the property will be no different than any other E1 estate zone property in the village. Other provisions of a settlement agreement provide the village with some control over the property through contract rather than zoning. Number two, affirm the property's existing E1 estate zoning classification. Notice of the applicability of a PRD to a property is accomplished by designation of a PRD on the zoning map. Removing that designation in conjunction with the revocation of a PRD ordinance does not legally constitute a rezoning, even though it does represent that the property will no longer be governed by the applicable PRD ordinance. The Stonebridge property will now be governed by the village E1 estate zoning district as requested and agreed to by the owner and as is consistent with the village's comprehensive plan, see policy AD2-4. This will be the first time in many years that the property will be governed by the E1 zoning in light of the previous Stonebridge and Harrison House PRD ordinances. The draft ordinance also affirms this fact. The PCCBA conducted a public hearing to consider the draft ordinance at its December 15, then canceled January 19 and February 16 meetings. At the conclusion of its February 16 meeting, the PCCBA unanimously recommended the village adopt the ordinance. Any question?
Can I just ask Attorney, go ahead, Barbara, please. I was just going to ask Attorney Friedman, this is, these three items are all consistent with the settlement agreement, and there's really not a lot of room for discussion unless we were to decide we weren't comfortable with the settle agreement, which we previously agreed to.
That's correct.
Then I have no questions.
Thank you, Steve.
And I just wanted to point out that the two trustees who worked very hard in bringing this all to a conclusion, Trustee Briand and Trustee Ryder, they aren't here, but Drew, were there any comments or concerns that they expressed to you in lieu of their inability to attend this evening?
No, other than grateful to be at this point in time.
As we all are.
Yes, all of us.
Thank you, Barbara. Good comment. Joy?
I don't have any comments. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, and I would just echo that. I'm glad we're to the end. We're coming to a close.
Thank you. Taryn?
I have nothing that would meaningfully add to the conversation. I think, as everyone said, it is straightforward, and I'm pleased that we were a part of it.
Thank you. So at this point, with hearing no questions, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rappin,
Aye.
trustee Ingemann,
Aye.
trustee Markey,
Aye.
trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, item 13.
Before that, you,
That's first reading. Do we want to waive second reading?
yes.
I make a motion that we waive second reading if I can. I don't know if I'm allowed to propose that.
You are.
I second that.
So
This
thank you.
requires 5 votes and the village president can vote because we need 5 votes to waive second reading.
Do we need to go to a roll to actually do that before
Yes.
second roll? So clerk, please call the roll
Well, I
for,
know you may want to ask if there's any comments about the second, so you had trustee Ankerman made the motion, trustee Markey seconded. This is waiver of second reading to approve this tonight, this ordinance.
so again, this is a waiver. We're about to vote on a waiver to waive a second reading.
And I don't,
No, this is a vote to waive second reading.
yes,
And to be clear, Drew, you said that the trustees who were part of this did not have any comments or revelations, and you have not had any further public input, correct?
correct.
Since the last, okay.
That's correct for both responses, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so that will be a vote to waive the
Second
second
reading.
reading. And I will be included into this vote as well. Clerk, please call the roll.
President Charlo.
Aye.
President Charlotte goes last. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Trustee Ingemann,
Aye.
trustee Fisher,
Aye.
trustee Markey,
Aye.
trustee Rappin,
Aye.
President Charlo.
Aye, thank you. Okay,
so now you're looking for a motion
to,
approve the ordinance for second reading.
so now we do.
No, the ordinance has been approved.
My mistake,
The
my
waive-
mistake.
Yep.
Never mind. Okay,
Okay,
item 13.
moving on to 13, an ordinance amending the Lake Bluff zoning regulations relating to special procedures and standards incorporated into settlement agreements revolving land use litigation. Can I please have is there a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
A second.
Second.
Thank you. This is the second of 3 board items to approve zoning actions required by the village settlement agreement with SB 2011 LLC, the owner of a stone bridge development at 136 Green Bay Road, also known as O-391 Johnson Lane. The attached draft ordinance would adopt special rules or procedure for future applications concerning the property. The settlement agreement includes some special rules of procedure that would apply to a future PRD application for Stonebridge. The village and the owner mutually agreed to a list of application materials that would be required for a future PRD development, as well as to an optional limitation on the length of time that the village can review and deliberate regarding an application. The second draft ordinance codifies that the provisions of settlement agreements, such as the Stonebridge Settlement Agreement, can supersede the village usual rules of procedure to the extent of any conflict. The PCZBA conducted a public hearing to consider the draft ordinance at its December 15, then canceled January 19 and February 16 meetings. At the conclusion of its February 16 meeting, the PCZBA unanimously recommended the village adopt the ordinance. Any question? So this is do we have enough? This is a final vote, right?
No, you do the same process you did last time.
Okay, so we will have a first vote on this for this first reading. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rabin,
Aye.
trustee Markey,
Aye.
trustee Inkman,
Aye.
trustee Fisher,
Aye.
President Sherlock,
That he doesn't vote on first readings.
Second
Sorry.
time.
Exactly.
So now if there's a motion for
So
waiver,
could I please have a motion for a waiver of second reading and approval of the ordinance?
So moved.
A second?
Okay. Second.
Thank you, Joy. So now is a vote for the waiver of a second reading and approval of the ordinance.
trustee Fisher,
Aye.
trustee Inkman,
Aye.
trustee Rabin,
Aye.
trustee Markey,
Aye.
President Sherlock,
Aye.
Peter's thumbs up.
So we should do 14, right, to finish that item. Okay. And finally, for Taryn, the item number 14, a resolution approving a tentative and final plat of subdivision for Stonebridge. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. This is the third of 3 board items to approve zoning actions required by the Village Settlement Agreement with SB 2011 LLC, the owner of a Stonebridge development at 136 Green Bay Road, also known as O-391 Jensen Lane. The attached draft resolution would approve a re-subdivision of a Stonebridge property into 5 lots. The plat maintains the right-of-way of Jensen Lane within the development, which contains roadway and utility systems that are connected to the village infrastructure but have not been accepted by the village. In other words, that are not yet the village property or responsibility. The plat eliminates and re-subdivides the existing Stonebridge lots into the fewest number of lots, 5, permissible under state law, which requires that lots must be contiguous. In other words, a single lot can't span both sides of a street. Future developments of a property will likely require further re-subdivision, which would be subject to the village review. The PCZBA conducted a public hearing to consider the plat of subdivision at its December 15, at the cancelled January 19 and February 16 meetings. At the conclusion of its February 16 meeting, the PCZBA unanimously recommended the village approve the plat of subdivision. The attached draft resolution would do so. Questions?
This is just a weird question, but how did we conduct a public hearing for a canceled meeting? Am I
so
reading
the
that?
hearing, it was continued.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify what that meant.
Thank you. Barb, Steve, and Taryn, questions?
Once again, there were no, I'm just putting this in the bucket of Stonebridge has been talked about for over a decade and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There was nothing new that came to light. And so there's no information further to share about this, correct, Drew?
No.
Yeah, this is also entirely consistent with the settlement agreement that that required approval of the subdivision.
Yep.
Thank you. If hearing no questions, I would call for a roll call. Clerk,
This requires only 4 votes. President does not need to vote.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Say it again.
trustee Inkman,
Aye.
trustee Rabin,
Aye.
trustee Markey,
Aye.
trustee Fisher,
Aye.
Thank you. And that was it on this resolution.
Correct.
Correct. So we're done on item 14.
Do we need to have a motion to waive a second reading on that?
That was the resolution.
No.
Right.
Resolutions require only one.
Oh, got it,
approval.
got it. Got it.
So, Peter, in the continuation of the clunkiness of this meeting, just to clarify,
This is not clunky.
World's clunkiest meeting ever.
This is careful
Pretty good.
legislative action.
just to
Without-
be crystal clear, on item 13, which was the zoning text amendments, there was a waiver of second reading. I was curious, my notes, I wasn't clear, I was taking notes, but did President Charlot vote on that item as well?
Yes, he did.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I had my notes right. Thank you.
Yep. So at this point, it's probably a village president exam at this point, like a driving exam. We are resuming to item 7B. That would be
Finance
the
report.
January 2022 finance report, the financial report. Finance Director O'Connell, could you please give us highlights on this report?
Sure. Good evening. Noteworthy items found in the January report include the monthly sales tax revenue on a cash basis for January fiscal year 22 is $292,500, which is $18,391 or 6.7% greater than fiscal year 21 cash basis receipts of $274,109. Fiscal year 22 year-to-date sales tax revenue is $503,234 greater than the May through January fiscal year 21 cash basis receipts. Building permit revenue for fiscal year 22 to date is $320,928, $32,853 greater than the same reporting period last fiscal year. General fund fiscal year 22 total revenues of $10,323,357 are $1,699,370 or 19.7% greater than the January fiscal year 21 year-to-date revenues. Fiscal year 22 current expenditures are consistent with or less than budgeted for the total general fund. The fiscal year-to-date expenditures of $8,845,134 are $1,790,381 greater than the expenditures for the same fiscal period in FY21.
Thank you, Bettina.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Are there any questions to Bettina?
No.
Hearing none, this is a roll vote. Clerk?
Was there a motion made? I didn't have a motion.
I don't have, I'm sorry about that. Is there a motion to approve a finance report?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Hearing no questions, this is a roll vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher,
Aye.
trustee Inkman,
Aye.
trustee Markey,
Aye.
trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is item 8, our village attorney's report. Mr. Friedman, do you have a report tonight?
No report other than to congratulate you on all of those adoptions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
I couldn't hear.
No.
Moving on. The sound is, there is a lot of echo in this room, and so it's sometimes hard to hear snarky comments. Next is our village president's report. I do not have a report for tonight.
Nor do I.
Thank you.
So you skip me, so that's okay.
No, this is not on the list. Item 9?
8.
All right.
It's all right. I have no report this evening.
Next is item 11, the acceptance of a correspondence. Please note that all correspondence was delivered to Village Board trustees in the informational reports on February 4 and 18, 2022. Is there a motion to approve the correspondence?
So moved.
Thank you. A second.
Second.
Thank you.
Well, I had you as made the motion, Trustee Ankerman.
Well,
Second.
Joy and I were concurrent, so
Okay, okay.
take your pick.
Yep.
Between the two of us, Jack Spratt.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Ingerman,
Aye.
trustee Fisher,
Aye.
trustee Rappin,
Aye.
trustee Markey.
Aye.
I believe we have worked through item 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, and 19.
19 is where you're at, sir.
So we're at item 19. Item 19 is a resolution authorizing change order number 1 for the village's fiscal year 2022 water main improvement project. Could I please have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. On January 10, 2022, the village board approved a resolution authorizing the execution of a construction contract in the amount of $702,925 with Boulder Contractors, Inc. of Cary, Illinois, as the contractor for the fiscal year 2022 water main improvement project. The project was bid with an alternate bid to replace the existing 4-inch water main, 4-inch water main on Ravine Avenue between Moffett Road and Sunrise Avenue. The alternate bid exceeded the project budget and was not recommended for approval. Since that time, the contractor has offered to do additional work at the same unit rates as were included in the submitted alternate bid. Consequently, village staff recommends the approval of a change order to add the following work items. Number 1, replace the water main on Ravine Avenue from Moffett Road to the east to near the home at 600 Ravine Avenue. Staff believes the pricing submitted by the contractor is better than the village would receive if it bid the project on its own. The cost of this additional water main replacement is approximately $210,000. Number 2, replace an additional fire hydrant on Ascot Court. Number 3, repair a water main leak on Ravine Avenue, completed on Monday, February 21st, 2022. And number 4, install a new water valve on Evanston. The cost of this work is $250,000. The village fiscal year 2022 budget includes $705,000 for the project, and the proposed fiscal year 2023 includes $400,000 for water main improvements. The $2,100 portion of the project already awarded will likely not be completed until fiscal year 2023, as the Illinois Department of Transportation will not allow work within their right-of-way to begin until after April 15. If a change order is approved, then the expenses should fall into each budget year. The village engineer recommends that the village board approve the change order to the construction contract with Boulder Contractors, Inc. to increase the value of the contract by $250,000 from $702,925 to $952,925. Questions?
Yeah, and I apologize, I didn't have a chance to clarify ahead of time. There, we approved 700,000, and then there's new scope works to the tune of about
Steve froze again.
He did.
Oh,
No, you're back. You're back.
sorry.
Now you're back.
Okay. I was just confirming that this is not related to an overage on the $700,000 scope of work. This is a new scope of work, correct?
That is correct. Additional work.
There is a little bit would be an overage, would be the hydrant that we replaced on Ascot, which had to be replaced once we dug it up. The water main break on Ravine, which they were there, so we had them fix. So that's why the memo reads, I think 210 is for the increase amount of footage of main, but it's a $250,000 change because the $40,000 are for items that have gone over or will go over with the existing scope at the 702,000.
Yeah. Okay, good. And
Yeah.
$40,000 of, going over is not a disaster. 210 of new scope. Wait, Jeff, was that scope that was planned for next year anyways, or this year or next year?
It would be. It's just that left us with a kind of a small amount of water main to bid for next year. And I don't think we would have gotten all of Ravine under that budget anyway, which is why I have proposed to split it in half, basically, and just do half this year. And the next half will probably be done 15 months from now in the fiscal year 24, which is the summer of 2023.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Any more questions? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rabin,
Aye.
trustee Inkman,
Aye.
trustee Markey,
Aye.
trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is item 20, the trustees report. Do we have a trustees report tonight?
None.
No.
No.
Thank you. Item 21 would be an executive session. Do we have a session tonight?
No, sir.
We don't. Thank you. Well, I would certainly request a motion to adjourn tonight.
So moved.
Thank you.
Jinx.
A second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Joy. Well, it was certainly interesting tonight. Thank you so much.
In honor of the fact that this is our last virtual meeting, you can adjourn with a voice vote.
Nice.
Night, very smooth, Peter.
Anyone, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye. Man.